Stop. Before you close this video, I need you to hear something. When was the last time you checked their profile? This morning? 3 times last night? Once at 2 a.m. Then again at 2:17? You blocked them, deleted the photos, told your friends you were done. And yet, there you were, finger hovering, heart hammering, scrolling through their life like a detective, looking for clues that they miss you, or clues that they've already moved on. Either way, you couldn't stop. And here's what nobody has told you yet. That is not weakness. That is not pathetic. That is your brain in biological withdrawal. And if you do not understand what is happening inside you right now, you will waste the next 2 years of your life in a loop that masquerades as healing. But it isn't healing. It is controlled torture. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you changes everything. Let's start at the beginning, not at the breakup. Further back, when you first fell in love with them, you probably remember the feeling, that specific electricity, when they texted back within seconds, when they said your name in a certain way, when you caught them looking at you and they didn't look away. That wasn't poetry. That was chemistry. Specifically, that was dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter your brain releases during moments of anticipation and reward, not just pleasure. Anticipation. This is crucial. Every time your partner did something that surprised you, delighted you, or made you feel chosen, your brain flooded with dopamine, and your brain, like a machine learning algorithm, began mapping that person as a source of reward, not just emotionally. Neurologically, brain scans of people in early romantic love show activation patterns nearly identical to those found in cocaine addiction studies. The same neural pathways, the same craving circuits, the same dependency loops. When researchers at Rutgers University studied brain imaging of people deeply in love, they found that the reward centers lit up the caudate nucleus, the ventral tegmental area. These are primitive brain structures, not the rational prefrontal cortex, not the thinking brain, the ancient survival-level brain, the same brain that controls hunger, the same brain that controls thirst. Love, at the neurological level, is classified by your brain not as an emotion, but as a drive, like the drive to eat, like the drive to survive. So when that person disappears from your life, your brain does not process this as an emotional loss. Your brain processes it as a withdrawal from a substance it is chemically dependent on. This is not metaphor. This is mechanism. And understanding this mechanism is the first step toward freedom. Now that you understand that love literally rewires your brain, let's talk about what happens when that person is suddenly gone. The breakup, the silence, the moment the source of your neurological reward disappears. Your brain does not say, "This relationship ended. Time to move forward." Your brain says, "My reward source is missing. Locate it. Retrieve it." This is a craving loop. Psychologist Helen Fisher, who has spent decades studying love using fMRI brain scanning, found that when people were shown photographs of their ex-partners after a breakup, the exact same brain regions activated as in cocaine addicts who were shown images of the drug. The exact same regions. Craving, withdrawal, wanting. And here is the sinister part that nobody talks about. Unlike cocaine, you can't lock your ex in a safe. They still exist. They're still on Instagram, still posting stories, still liking people's photos at 11 p.m. And your craving brain knows that. Your craving brain says, the substance is still available. One more hit, just to check. So you open their profile. And for exactly 4.7 seconds, your pain numbs, because your brain got a microdose of what it was craving, information about them, proximity, even digital. But then comes a crash. Because they didn't post anything about you, because they look fine, because someone commented a red heart on their photo. And now the pain is worse than before you checked. So what does your addicted brain do? It goes back, not because you're weak, because this is a neurochemical withdrawal cycle operating exactly as designed. Craving, search, brief relief, crash, craving again. This is a loop. And you are not broken for being in it. You are human, with a human brain that was designed to bond, and is now suffering withdrawal from that bond. Here's the part that most people don't know. And once you understand this, you will never see your past relationship the same way. You were not addicted because they loved you consistently. You are addicted because they didn't. In 1953, behavioral psychologist B.F. Skinner conducted a series of experiments with rats and reward mechanisms. When he gave rats a food pellet, every single time they press a lever, the rats press the lever steadily, predictably, and when he removed the food permanently, they stopped pressing the lever relatively quickly. But when he gave rats food only sometimes, unpredictably at random intervals, the rats pressed that lever compulsively, obsessively. Even when the food stopped coming entirely, they kept pressing and pressing and pressing. This is called variable ratio reinforcement, and it is the most powerful conditioning schedule known to behavioral science. It is also the exact mechanism behind slot machines, behind social media likes, and behind relationships where love was inconsistent. Think about your relationship. Were they consistently warm and available? Or did you sometimes feel chosen and sometimes feel invisible, and you could never predict which version you'd get? Did they sometimes reply to your text within seconds and other times leave you on read for hours? Did they sometimes look at you like you were everything and other times seem barely present? If so, your brain was being run through a variable reward schedule. Every moment of warmth was unpredictable, and unpredictable rewards train the brain far more powerfully than consistent ones. This is why you might have been more obsessed with someone who hurt you than with someone who loved you perfectly. The inconsistency created addiction. The inconsistency trained you to keep checking, to keep hoping, to keep pressing the lever, because maybe this time they'll post that they miss you. Maybe this time the warmth will come back. This is the variable reward trap, and you are not weak for being in it. You were conditioned into it by a pattern of behavior that your brain experienced as a slot machine. And we do not blame gamblers for being unable to leave a casino. We understand the mechanism, and then we help them leave. Let's talk about why you cannot think straight. Why you read the same text thread 17 times looking for new meaning. Why you replay the last conversation looking for the moment it could have gone differently. Why a song that wasn't even significant suddenly destroys you in the car. This is not irrationality. This is neuroscience. When humans experience social pain, the pain of rejection, loss, or abandonment, the brain activates the same neural circuits as physical pain. A 2011 study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences used brain imaging to show that heartbreak activates the secondary somatosensory cortex and the dorsal posterior insula, the same regions that process burns, cuts, and physical injury. Heartbreak is registered by your brain as a physical wound. And when you are in physical pain, your brain's limbic system, the emotional center, takes priority over your prefrontal cortex, the rational decision-making center. This is called limbic override. In survival terms, this makes perfect sense. If you're injured, your body doesn't need philosophy. It needs instinct. It needs to find safety now. But here's the problem. After heartbreak, that survival instinct identifies your ex as the source of safety because they were your primary attachment figure. And so your limbic brain, operating without the full input of your rational prefrontal cortex, keeps sending you back to the threat. Keep checking, keep hoping, keep returning to the place that hurt you. Because somewhere in the wiring, it still registers as the place where safety is stored. This is called attachment anxiety in grief. And it explains why you might know, rationally, that this person is not good for you. You might have said it out loud, "I don't even want them back," and mean it, and then find yourself checking their profile 40 minutes later, because the rational brain said the words. But the limbic brain did not receive the memo. Healing is not about convincing your thinking mind. Healing is about regulating the ancient, survival-level emotional brain. And that takes time, and strategy, and above all, understanding, which is why you are here. Let's be specific about what actually happens when you check their profile, because it's not random. There's a very specific pattern, and understanding the pattern is the beginning of breaking it. You open the app, you tell yourself you're just scrolling, but within 30 seconds, you've navigated to their page. Why? Because your craving brain is running a specific mission. It is searching for one of three things. 1, evidence that they miss you, a vague caption, a song lyric, an emotional post that might be about you. Your brain is desperate for data that confirms you are not forgotten, that you mattered, that the pain was mutual. 2, evidence that they're suffering. This is the part that people feel ashamed of, but it is completely normal. You want to see that they are not okay, because if they are fine, if they are out, laughing, thriving, then something in you feels erased, irrelevant, like you were a chapter they already finished. 3, evidence that they've moved on with someone else. And you are not looking for this because you want to know. You are looking for it because your anxiety brain would rather confirm bad news than unbearable uncertainty. Your brain prefers a definite wound to the open question, because at least a wound is real. But here's what happens in every single case. You look, you find something, or you find nothing, and the pain intensifies either way, because the profile never gives you what you actually need. What do you actually need? Not data about them. Closure. And closure does not live on their social media page. Closure lives inside you, and it is constructed, not found. It is built through understanding, through grieving fully, through rebuilding your sense of self outside of the relationship, not through one more scroll. Never through one more scroll. I want to pause here, because I know that some of you have spent weeks or months hating yourself for this, for not being over it, for checking again, for crying again, for letting this person take up this much space in your mind. You probably told yourself things like, I should be stronger than this. It's been 3 months. Why am I still like this? They don't deserve this much of my energy. And you are right about the last one. They don't. But the first 2, those are lies. Lies born from a culture that mistakes numbness for strength, that mistakes suppression for healing, that celebrates moving on quickly as if it were a virtue rather than a red flag of unprocessed pain. What you are going through is not weakness. It is a sign of a nervous system that bonded deeply, that loved completely, that formed a kind of attachment that does not dissolve in a week or a month. The depth of your pain is proportional to the depth of your attachment, and the depth of your attachment reflects your capacity to love. That is not something to be ashamed of. That is something to be understood and protected, because when you come out the other side of this, and you will come out the other side, you will be equipped with something rare, self-knowledge. You will know what you bond to. You will know your patterns. You will know your triggers. And the next time something stirs in you that resembles this, you will recognize it before it becomes a trap. But that starts here, not with self-criticism, with self-understanding. You are not broken. You are human. You are in withdrawal from a real neurological bond, and you deserve the permission to grieve it, fully without shame. Give yourself that permission. Right now, it costs nothing, and it is the only place healing can begin. Now, let's talk about what actually changes, because there is hope in the neuroscience. There is real, measurable biological hope. Your brain is not permanently wired to this person. It can unwire. The process is called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to restructure its own neural pathways. When you formed your attachment to this person, your brain built dedicated neural pathways. Every time you thought of them, contacted them, checked on them, those pathways were reinforced. Think of them as trails through a forest. Every time you walk the trail, it becomes more worn, more visible, easier to follow. The trail to them is deep, overgrown with habit. But here's what happens when you stop walking it. The forest begins to reclaim it. New grass grows, slowly, at first imperceptibly, but consistently. And when you create new pathways, new experiences, new thoughts, new connections, new habits, those trails deepen instead. And the old trail, the one that leads to them, it fades. Not because you stop loving them, but because the brain, given time and different inputs, is literally restructuring itself. No contact is not a punishment. No contact is not a manipulation tactic. No contact is neurological surgery. It is a practice of deliberately stopping the signal so the pathway can begin to fade. Every time you check their profile, you are rewalking the trail. Every time you resist, even once, the forest grows a little more, the trail fades a little. Over weeks, then months, the craving loses its urgency, not because you've forgotten, but but because the neural infrastructure of the craving is being quietly dismantled through your consistent refusal to maintain it. This is a science of no contact. And it works, not because willpower overcomes feeling, but because the brain changes when given the space to change. Give it the space. The final thing I want to leave you with is this. You are not trying to get back to who you were before. You cannot. That person doesn't exist anymore. And that is not a loss. That is the point. Every significant attachment that ends, when processed with understanding rather than avoided, produces something the ancient Greeks called pathei mathos, learning through suffering. Not suffering for its own sake, but the specific, irreplaceable knowledge that comes only from having lived through something that mattered and survived it. You now know things about yourself you could not have known otherwise. You know what it feels like to be chemically bonded to another human being. You know what it costs to untangle that bond. You know that your brain is not your enemy. It is a biological system doing exactly what it was designed to do. You know that obsessive behavior is not weakness. It is withdrawal. You know that checking their profile is not stupidity. It is a craving cycle. You know that the pain you feel is proportional to your capacity to love. And you know that the love was real even if the relationship ended. These things do not go away. They become part of the architecture of who you are, the bones of a more knowing self, the foundation of a person who will love again, not with less depth, but with more wisdom, not with walls, but with discernment, not with fear of loss, but with the understanding that loss, when it comes, can be survived, has been survived, was survived by you, right here, right now. You checked their profile again this week. You cried again, and you are here, watching this, learning. That is not someone who is broken. That is someone who is healing, and you are more than enough to complete that healing. Trust the biology. Trust the time. Trust yourself. If this video reached something real in you, if it named something you've been feeling but couldn't explain, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because the person checking their ex's profile at midnight didn't need judgment. They needed someone to explain what was happening in their brain. Subscribe if you want more psychology that takes you seriously. No platitudes. No toxic positivity. Just the science of being human. And what to do with it. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself tonight.